I'm waiting for the bits. Oh,
It's really great to be here.
that was fast. Look at that. The gaseous emissions warning worked. This is the
Jeez.
first time we've gone live without you having some kind of rupture. Boom. And we're live. Lewis, you want that tweet action?
I'm so ready for the tweet. I need to
Man.
move down the Tim Cook tweet down the page because I'm so sick and tired of seeing him and everyone at Apple say in every single communication, we're so excited and we can't wait.
Was he just as squinty as can be?
God, would they
with his
just
fist out
get
to emphasize?
off it?
Well, they're
He must
excited.
have it tattooed on the inside of their eyeballs or eyelids, I suppose.
He's probably got it tatted on his like inner forearm, so he can just lift up his sleeve and it just says it right there. And he can just, and then you look at his arm, then you look at him, and he's just like squinty as can be, just nodding.
He's like the guy on Cape Fear, on his knuckles. Can't wait.
All right, the tweet has been tweeted, Lewis. We got Mark T. He says, "Give me the headset, y'all." Oh, Tim Cook's been living in that thing. You know that's true.
We're so excited to show you our headset. We can't wait to see how developers make stuff to make it happen.
I'm excited too. I want to see what this dang thing's gonna do, and I want to see how much it costs. Because
that's the $3,000 question, isn't
if
it?
it's $3,000, I'm quitting this show and I'm starting the Steve Ballmer cast, where we just talk about brown Zunes all day long. That's it. The only product we talk about. All right, we're waiting for everyone to pile in. We got Christoph here. He says, "I'm so excited for this CultCast.
Can't wait."
He can't wait. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. We're going to go ahead and give it a few seconds here. Get that tweet retweeted, Lewis, and we're going to just dive right in. We got a bunch of Apple stuff to talk about. We got some more machine learning. People always call it AI. Technically, it's not really artificial intelligence. It's machine learning. There's a distinction. But we're going to be talking about that. We got some more examples to show you guys. I don't know if people are interested in this, but some interesting things that happened on the internet this week. We got Level Remix. He's here. He's ready to get going. He says, "Hola, Govs." Oh, that was terrible. I feel like I should have done that in another kind of accent, so my apologies. Oh, there we go. Is the tweet tweeted, Lewis?
It's been tweeted. Yeah, it's out there.
Then let's go ahead and cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. But before that, we got Gerard Pie. Gerard. That sounds like a French name. Am I right? "I'm just excited to see how they market and present it, waiting for the augmented clear glasses." Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
That's the thing, right? They can't show someone wearing the thing because people wearing those things look silly.
Yeah, it's true.
Although I suppose if they do like like the what was it, the iPod ads, with the silhouettes and stuff, maybe they could somehow make it look.
Except you'll have like that might be what they do. Except you're wearing like a full on headset.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
For $3,000 or whatever they end up, charging for it, like what could it possibly do for $3,000 that would be something that a normal person would actually want to do? I really don't know.
Define normal.
Well, if you're here listening to this, I guess we've already excluded you from that analogy. Let's see.
Man, somebody stole your guitar.
It's right there. What do you mean?
Oh, your other guitar.
Oh, well, I got another one incoming, Lewis.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I see a podcast sitting back there underneath the TV.
Yeah. Oh, my HomePod?
Yeah. What did I say? Podcast? HomePod. Jeez. I'm seeing podcasts.
You guys want me to turn on my podcast back here and we can take a listen to it? Yeah, I'll also do an update on my HomePod story. I took it to Apple and had them look at it. You're going to love this story. We got Oliver Monitor here. We got Amid. Did I say that right? Amid Khan. He says it won't be $3,000. Sounds like setting the expectations high so that when it's lower, it's considered cheap. You might be right. I mean, that would be a smart marketing move. And we know that Mark Gurman prints, whatever they give him to relay to the public. So it might be it might end up being less. I'm all but convinced that Mark literally just gets his stories directly from TC.
He's got like a Bloomberg terminal.
Yeah, right.
Cook has a Bloomberg terminal on his desk. Only it goes the other way. It pushes to Bloomberg.
So it's like an Apple Lisa, and he just turns it on, and like immediately the screen prompt just opens up, and he's like typing in that like green old school text, right? And he's executing commands and just goes straight to Mark's terminal. Yeah. All right, let's get going before people are dropping off precipitously. Let's do I have the recordings going? Yeah, I do. You got your recording going, Lewis?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's cue up Mrs. You Know Who, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Sounding very upbeat today. Oh yes, I can't wait to try out that Apple headset. Oh yes, I'll be doing some sensual content for El Caney. So he can get up close and personal. Oh, God. In 8K. Gosh, it just keeps going. It's so gross. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, I don't want to hear about the escapades that you're going to have with El Caney with that headset. I can only dread what kinds of things will be communicated between your two headsets. If you don't mind, we can get the show rolling. And we can talk about the Apple news this week and talk about some machine learning. And I'll get the music going here in 3, 2. Hello! And welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airfun Elijah. Joining me today, while other blogs are replacing their writers with artificial intelligence, he'd never do that. Developing the writing team with his hose, his collection of horse crops, and harsh language is the most fulfilling part of the job, am I right? He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, this AI stuff is going to take all our jobs.
It's going to take some jobs, Lewis. It is going to take some jobs. So Lewis and I were we were.
You going to start with that, huh?
Well, I'm not gonna dive into all the AI stuff first, but I do want to tell a quick story. So Lewis and I were doing a CultMac promo read last Friday, was it? So it's something that what did I say? CultMac? Yeah, CultCast. Yeah. So it's like a short little blurb that you read and then you insert it into other podcasts to promote our show to people who might be interested in this content, of which I'm sure it's going to be very few people. But we're going to give it a shot. And Lewis and I were reading through the text block that we were provided, which is written by a human. And we were like, this is good, but it doesn't quite capture exactly what we were going for. So I was like, Lewis, I'm going to just ask ChatGPT to write me a 30-second podcast promo about the CultCast and see what happens. And I type out the request, I hit enter, and Lewis's mind was blown. He could not believe what it returned. It didn't just create like a good sounding promo, but it knew things about the show, like nuance about the show that made our show distinct from other tech podcasts. And Lewis had a look of joy. His face went white, and he was like, "I'm gonna have to go sell shoes at the mall after this because I'm not gonna have a job." I mean, it was that good, and we read it. It was shockingly good.
And then so you did that, and then you said, you tweaked the prompt a little bit, and it came up with another one that was different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe better, maybe worse, but different, but also had amazing shades of meaning and nuance that it was frankly mind-blowing. I mean, especially considering what the human wrote, because the thing the human wrote was inaccurate and dull and
come on, it wasn't that bad.
It was inaccurate. And this other thing,
there are elements of
this other one was like I told Erfan that if I sat down to write it, and it's not that many words, maybe it would take me 20 minutes, but it would read a lot like what that thing spat out because I know what the show is. And how did it? I still don't know how it knew what the show is. I have no idea where it got that grasp of the content of the show.
That was the part that was truly shocking, was that level of nuance that it knew about our show, like the things that we do on our show that other shows don't do, and it highlighted those in an elegant way in the actual read. I didn't think it would be that good. I was surprised as well.
It's like the opposite of what happens. This is a journalistic syndrome thing where if you ever read an article that's about something that you know a lot about, like if I read an article about darts or whatever, a band that you happen to be really into, or your band, you read an article and you notice how many things are completely wrong by just. But you did an interview with a reporter, and here's what they spew back out a week later, and it's not right. There's many factual errors and lots of things that are just not even really kind of close but wrong. And man, this thing was the opposite of that. It was uncannily accurate.
Yeah, we recorded it. So what I was thinking we should do is like maybe next week or a future show is we should just read both of these blurbs and see if people can guess which one was written by a human.
Oh.
I almost did that for this show. We're not going to have time to do it this show, but maybe next week I'll queue it up and I'll read both and people can guess which one was AI and which one was
well, after this discussion they're going to know for sure.
I don't know. I mean,
because one is really good and the other is not.
Well, it's gonna be so subjective though, because some people are gonna think the human one is better than the other one. So like, that's the thing. That's the test. That's what's gonna be interesting to see. All right. Let's see here. Before we dive into all the fun, I want to thank Electric E-Bikes for supporting this episode. Look at this big, beautiful electric bike, my friends. I don't think you're gonna find a better value in the world of e-bikes than Electric E-Bikes. So they sent me a electric XP 3.0 to cruise around on, and it's $1,000 bike. It is nicer than bikes that I have ridden that have cost 30, 40, 50%, 60% more. Like, I was looking at the build quality. It has a beautiful paint job. It's designed extremely well, and I was just kind of checking it out, and the fenders are made of metal. Now, that's something that you could easily pass over, but those are the kinds of areas that cheap e-bike brands will usually skimp on. Is putting like lower than high quality parts on places where you may not notice them. But Electric doesn't do that. Like, Electric puts metal parts all over the entire bike, including on the fenders, which was really impressive. It rides beautifully. It's easy to cruise around the whole city on this thing. Like, you really could replace your car with a bike like this. And it folds. So one of my favorite features about the bike is that with a quick lift of a lever, your entire bike folds in half, which means that it's easy to carry around. Like, a lot of electric bikes are very big and bulky, and they're hard to take places in your car. But the Electric is super easy just to toss in your trunk because you can fold it in half. It's the easiest electric bike setup that I've ever had. Like, you take it out of the box, you unfold it, and boom, it's ready to go. I mean, and for $1,000, this thing is a crazy, crazy good value. It's so well designed. It goes up to 28 miles per hour, which is almost scary fast. I mean, like I don't even know if I'm comfortable going 28 miles per hour on a bike, but you could do it. And the rear rack holds up to 150 pounds. You can load this thing with cargo. It also is
package.
Oh yeah, it's also compatible with most major kid seats. So you can just plop in like a kid seat into the back and carry your kid all around. Here's a picture of it folded. That's what it looks like folded up. And you can get up to 45 miles on one charge. It has a quiet motor, optimized gearing, gives you a super smooth ride, and you can control the level of power assist. So you could have an easy ride, you could have a hard ride. It also has a throttle, so you can zip around your town or your city. Definitely recommend this bike. If you're looking for an e-bike and you don't want to spend a ton of money, this is probably the best e-bike for the money that exists out there. $1,000, the XP 3.0. And you're getting a premium grade price or a premium grade bike for a very affordable price. You can check it out yourself. Go to electricebikes.com. That's LECTRIC ebikes.com. I have the XP 3.0, which is the one I'm showing on the screen, but they have freaking trikes. I kind of wonder if they'll send me a trike, dude.
A trike.
A trike.
Wow.
I have never tried a electric trike.
Oh,
but
look at that.
This is a cargo machine, man. And they also, I'm going on too long here, but they also have bikes where you can have 2 batteries instead of 1, so you can go like extended range if you want to.
100 plus miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm saying, you really could replace your car with one of these. and just zip around on a bike. I mean, if you've
Wow.
never ridden an electric bike, they make it so easy to get around because they amplify the power of your legs. So you don't have to like break a sweat going anywhere, or you can just crank the throttle and not pedal at all. So you got a lot of options. So
Look
that's
how happy that person is.
yeah, look how much fun they're having.
Wow.
Have you ever had that much fun in your life, Lewis?
Those
I doubt
kids
it.
don't look terrified at all.
No. Well, that's
Actually, the
she
one
has-
in the front looks a little
that's because she hasn't gotten to 28
trepidatious.
miles per hour yet. That's electricebikes.com. All right, Lewis. What should we talk about first? Any big news this week that we should cover first?
I don't know. Did anything happen this week?
We got an announcement, Lewis. I'm surprised that you
Oh,
don't
right. The
remember this.
announcement. Yeah.
Big announcement. And I think it's pretty clear what's coming down the pipe, Lewis, but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Yes. Mark the calendars. WWDC 23 kicks off on June 5 with yet another online event.
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Big
invite,
keynote that
Lewis.
morning. Invitation went out yesterday, Wednesday. And as always, it's going to give us, this WWDC. If for a few people out there who don't know, this, Apple's big developer conference where they basically say, here's what we're interested in. Here's what we're going to work on in the next year to 18 months. They show off the, next version of iOS, Mac OS, iPad OS, everything, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes hardware. And in fact, so the big question now is, are we going to finally get to see that AR VR headset that we've been hearing about forever?
Oh, dude.
Are we going to get to see it?
It's happening, Lewis. I mean, just look at this invite, Lewis. Just check out that invite. So this is a render by Ian Zelbo. Look at that, man. So look at those. It almost looks like it looks like a rainbow, which could symbolize something in Apple Park. But it also, let's see here. Where's that tweet action that I was going to pull up? It also, like, these little swoops are indicative of, here we go, of some kind of lens technology. Let me see.
Pancake lens.
Pancake lens?
Pancake lens,
I'll
right?
pull this up. So Halide Camera had a tweet out talking about what they thought. And they said the WWDC invite resembles what is called a pancake lens array, which is often used in VR goggles. And then they gave you a little example of what this lens array looks like. And look at that, Lewis. It looks exactly like the invitation.
Very
right there.
similar.
Could be a coincidence, but as if we needed further proof, the Germinator turned on his terminal and had a new message from Tim Cook. I mean, Jim Rook, codenamed Jim Rook, that said, "For your eyes only, this message will self-destruct after it's been read." And he came out with a tweet that says, Apple announces WWDC 2023, where it plans to show its reality headset. That might be what they call it, the reality headset. And it will take place on June 5th. So Gurman's calling it, man. He says that we're getting it. And it's funny. I'm looking at our concurrent viewership, which is lower than normal right now. And I'm just thinking to myself, nobody cares, Lewis. Nobody cares. Whenever we talk about the headset, people tune out, man. They tune out, they go away. They do not care about this thing. So I'm curious to see if Apple's able to drum up interest in this headset, because there currently is not very much interest. Like, no one really tunes in when we talk about it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of comments in blog posts when people talk about this headset. Most normal people don't even know what this thing is or care. And like the Facebook Meta stuff is, in my opinion, not doing super well. They don't have their vision isn't one that is compelling to a lot of people. Disney just shuttered their whole AR VR department. They had 50 people. Boom, closed it all down.
Wow.
So part of me thinks that the AR VR thing is going to be niche always, like the Oculus, or it's going to be like 3D televisions. Remember how manufacturers kept pushing 3D TVs and then eventually they just stopped because no one cared? They just kept trying to make it a thing.
Right.
Mark
People
T
can't
says
be
he
bothered to
cares.
put 3D glasses on their head in their own living room. You think they're going to put on a goggle?
Well, now
I guess a set of goggles. It's not a goggle.
I do think that this headset is markedly different from anything that we've seen so far, because everything that we see so far are lower end VR headsets meant for gaming. So, and you put it on an Oculus, it doesn't look realistic. feels like you have a computer on your head. But if this headset can blur the line between reality and augmented reality and allow you to dial in, so it's supposed to have a digital crown that allows you to dial in between the two. And when you have it in reality mode, you can actually see your world in a super high resolution. It doesn't look fake. That might be a compelling product. Like, I could see a future where people are walking around in these things, but Apple's got a lot of convincing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got to say though, one of the I can't remember what the name of this manufacturer was, but there's somebody talking about a set of goggles or glasses or something, and the way they were selling it is, a 215-foot screen in your pocket.
Although it's not going to fit your pocket, but
Right. I don't know if they said in your pocket, but basically, like, hey, this is like watching a movie on a 250-foot screen or 215-foot screen.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's at least something that sounds possibly interesting to maybe what you might call a normal person. Like watching if you were able to actually get like some kind of intense like IMAX experience in your living room. I mean, maybe it's worth it for certain movies. I still don't. I mean, it still seems hard for me to believe, especially if you happen to live with anybody else who's going to be seeing you sitting there, in a trance, slobbering, watching a movie.
It also reminds me of the stories of that we have talked about in the last, I don't know, weeks and months, of the industrial design team basically at odds with Tim Cook saying that this technology basically isn't ready because there's not enough stuff that you can do with it that, and I'm paraphrasing now, that would be interesting to regular people, and TC getting all squinty and being like, release it, y'all. And here we go. Apple wants to have a new product to showcase, and so it will be interesting. I feel like this is going to be like Apple Watch V0, where they weren't really sure if people would go for it, and they weren't really sure what they should even do with the technology. So Apple's going to plop this in developers' hands and see what people come up with. My prediction is this. Hopefully, this is not a Steve Ballmer moment. Well, he was the thing that made that quote so memorable, and when he was talking about how the iPhone didn't make any sense and he was basically making fun of it, was his hubris. Okay, so this is just a prediction sans hubris because I don't know what's going to happen. I think that this will always be a hyper niche product and will probably not ever catch on in a big way, because if it's meant for entertainment, that's cool. I think that could be a good use case for it. If it's meant for productivity, that's cool, but that's something that's not going to resonate with most people. They're not going to want to wear a headset on their head all day. VR gaming is already niche, has been niche for years, so that's not going to be a major selling point. But maybe there will be some evolution that Apple has in mind that will move VR gaming into some new era. Somehow I doubt it. But so I think that this is always going to be something that is just kind of niche.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we're probably going to see. Although, wait, just I think today, there's another rumor that it's possibly been delayed yet again. And you know who this comes from? The very reliable Ming-Chi Kuo.
The only guy who ever gets anything right.
Yeah. So he says that the mass production schedule for the AR/MR headset, it has been pushed back by another 1 to 2 months to mid to late Q3 23. Okay. And he also says that it also adds uncertainty to whether the device will appear at WWDC 2023 as the market widely expects. He's cutting the forecast for how many units. Now he's saying they're going to ship 200,000 to 300,000 rather than the 500,000 everybody's been talking about. And so listen to this. The main concerns for Apple not being very optimistic regarding the market feedback to the AR/MR headset announcement, which is kind of oddly worded, but include the economic downturn, compromises on some hardware specifications for mass production, such as weight, the readiness of the ecosystem and applications, and a high selling price of between $3,000 and $4,000, or even higher.
Wow.
And even put an et cetera on the end. So like he's got this long list of reasons why Apple's like kind of worried about how this is going to do. I mean, forever we've heard that it's not going to sell 1 million. It's not going to be a breakthrough device. It's them planting their flag in AR and showing what can happen, and that the apps that developers make, that's what's going to make this thing great, right? And so in that regard, WWDC is the perfect place for them to to showcase this thing, right? Because in reality, it's not. In reality, I can't believe I said that. Yeah,
Oh,
it's going to be about the software, right? It's more. I mean, the hardware is going to have to be good, but the software is what's going to be mind blowing. Is what's going to make it mind blowing, if it is mind blowing, as
yeah.
opposed to just wallet busting.
I could go on and on and on. I don't want to bore everyone. I just think about what could this thing possibly do that would actually be compelling. Maybe some kind of like a tourism experience where you could walk around another area of the world, except be in your backyard or something. But again, those kinds of experiences would require you walking around or sitting in your living room or something. I don't know, man. I'm just not convinced. I'm waiting to see the vision, the grand vision. But my question to you before we move on is this: how much would this thing have to be, just if it did what we've heard it's going to do, like great entertainment experience, augmented reality, so you could overlay information over whatever you see in your normal life, productivity, you can have screens all over the place. How much would this thing have to be for it to be a no-brain buy for you? You just buy, impulse buy, I should say.
I think it would have to be less than $1,000 for me to
I was
just
thinking like
chuck some money at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
$7.99. I'd be like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
You know, maybe it's no coincidence that they just rolled out Apple Pay later.
Well, only to select individuals, Lewis. The ones
Right,
buying the
select.
headset.
Right.
Yeah. Would you like to pay for this $3,500 headset over 6 payments?
I'm going to need more than 6 weeks to pay off a $3,500 headset for sure.
Plus tax.
Also, like, I'm going to have to hide it from my wife because I can't tell her I spent $3,500 on something.
What are you going to do when she comes in and you're like
I know.
wandering around with your hands in front of you?
Right. That's the other thing. You don't want anybody seeing you wearing it anyway.
Maybe here, let me paint an alternate future. This thing has some killer functionality that we're not aware of. And in 6 months, you walk around and there's people wearing these things everywhere.
It's not going to happen.
Because the thing is you'll be able to see what's going on in real time, right? It just overlays things because it's AR. So you can just wear this wherever you go.
No way.
I don't think so either, but
I mean,
is a possibility.
I've only seen people wearing AirPods Max like a total of 2 or 3 times in public. And that's about as isolated as I think anybody wants to be out in the real world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't necessarily want all the sound blocked completely out so that somebody can walk up and crack you over the head or you get hit by a bus or whatever else.
Like if you go outside one of these things, dude,
no one's going to do.
They're going to snatch them right off your head. The people that don't realize that they can't actually use them because they're tied to your Apple account, these things are going to end up getting you bonked over the head with some kind of blunt object so someone can steal them.
Sheesh.
All right, well, we'll find out. What's the date of WWDC?
Did I not say that? It's June 5.
No, you did. I just
June 5, and it runs that whole week.
All right.
There's going to be a lot of Apple news, a lot of great insight into what this is actually the biggest, most important event of the year. I mean, everybody talks about the iPhone releases or whatever, but this is the thing where Apple maps out the future every year.
I'm also excited for some of the other things that could be announced at this WWDC. I mean, the Mac Pro obviously could be another one. iOS 17. I saw that the Germinator said that Apple has actually added back some more core features to iOS. Nice to have features to iOS 17, and it could also be the first rollout of compliance with these new EU regulations that are meant to open up the App Store to in a variety of ways. One of those being sideloading, so that Apple is going to allow you to sideload apps, which I think is huge. So I'm excited to see what iOS 17. I would say I'm actually more excited to see what happens with iOS 17 than I am with the mixed reality headset. But yeah, MacBook Air 15-inch. That almost certainly would be an auto buy for me, because my wife has the butterfly keyboard MacBook Air, and it's only a matter of time. It's for as rare as that problem is. I already know it's only a matter of time before her laptop has that problem again. It's already had it twice. You have one of those old keyboards, don't you, or do you have the M1?
Now I got the M1.
Okay.
But I never, well, not never. I almost never use it for actual typing.
Oh, because you have an external keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, only when, honestly, when I do actually have to do work on it, if I'm in a hotel room somewhere or something, I'm always shocked at like how uncomfortable it is and how small the screen is, and I don't know. I mean, it's not that it's too small. It's just that I'm so used to having so much screen real estate in my office that it's every time I do it, I'm like, wow, this is really small. It's really hard to work on.
I know. And the 15-inch size is like perfect. So that would be an impulse buy. Let's see here. We got to talk about the new features that you got to try in iOS 16.4. I don't want to linger on this too long, Lewis, but before we do, let me give a quick thanks to Collide for supporting this episode. Lewis, our sponsor Collide, they got some big news.
Yeah?
Prepare your ear holes for this. If you're an Okta user, you can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance, Lewis. Now, I know
like the sound of that.
the thought of 100% compliance,
and all I have to have is an octopus?
Well, close. It's if you're an Okta user.
Oh.
And I know that you like to achieve compliance through means that we can't discuss here on the show, many of them not legal. And I think that this is a better way. If a device isn't compliant, the user can log into your cloud apps, Lewis, and until they fix the problem. Oh, let me read that again because I screwed that up. If a device isn't compliant, the user can't log in to your cloud apps until they fix the problem. It's that simple, Lewis. Collide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, device compliance. Now I'm singing your tune. Without Collide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date. Unsecured devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them, Lewis. And even you standing there with your variety of horse crops, it's not going to be enough. Collide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Collide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, boom, they're blocked. Collide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. Visit collide.com/CultCast to learn more or book a demo. That's KOLIDE.com/CultCast, collide.com/CultCast. Thanks to Collide for supporting this episode. Lewis, let's talk about iOS 16.4. Now,
yes,
look,
let's.
I don't think we need to go through every single one of these features because we talked about these when 16.4 was in beta. But now we know what emoji we're getting. And I thought we could show them and talk a little bit about some of these. Let's see here.
Oh no! Look at the oh no emoji.
Is that oh no?
I don't know what it is. It's
It looks like somebody who had their Apple mixed reality headset just taken off their head and thwacked with a pan.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, blue heart, gray heart, pink heart. Whoa, been waiting for that one. The talk to the hand emoji, which that's some people are saying those two things together is like a high five.
That's
like
what it looks like.
If you've heard of the high five emoji, that's actually two different emojis being used.
It's showing you the left hand and the right
together.
Hand.
Yeah. I love the name of it. It's leftwards pushing hand and rightwards pushing hand.
Well, I'm glad that you described this because when I first saw this, I thought this was some kind of weird high five.
A single emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the broken wrist high five.
The broken, like you high five too hard, but this is you're talking to the hand emoji and you got a left hand and a right hand.
Yep.
How did we live without the Wi-Fi emoji?
Yeah, it's a little hard to believe that didn't exist.
Yeah, same here. I thought we already had that.
And just the other day, I found myself searching for the moose one, and it didn't exist yet.
See, I found that I'm gonna find this donkey. I'll probably be using that emoji all the time, aka the ass.
Yeah.
I'll be using that one. There's an
Well,
angel
Jack.
wing.
Yeah, I like the jellyfish. That's a good one.
And was it a goose?
I think that might be it's a goose or a duck. I can't tell.
That's definitely. Oh, that neck looks a little long to be a duck. Ducks don't have necks.
What?
It's just a body, and then boom, the head's just right on top of it. The neck is a very goose-like feature.
Now, that's not true because I've been to Chinatown and I've seen the ducks, the Peking ducks hanging in the windows. I think those are Peking ducks.
Well,
they're hanging by their necks.
Well, if you take all their feathers off, you can see their necks.
Okay.
But like when you're just looking at their bodies with their feathers, it just goes body, head. You can't see, the neck is bared. Whereas the goose has a very elongated neck. You can see it. That's why I think this is a goose.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the ginger one's going to be used to make fun of people.
Oh, I hadn't considered that, but I believe you might be right. You got some maracas, a flute, or recorder, as Lewis likes to call it. I've never seen a recorder look like that, but it looks like some kind of ancient flute.
Afro pick?
Got an afro pick, which is something I could utilize for sure. All right, so there are your emojis. We're not going to go through all these. The other one was voice isolation calls, right, Lewis? You wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So they just turned this on, right? And you've been able to use it in FaceTime Zoom. I think we discussed this before, right? And what it does is, like, if, for instance, I had a dog yapping in the background and I turn this on, it makes that disappear. You can't hear it. And we actually used that in a Slack call the other day. And one of our writers says, "So have you been able to?" I said, "How's it work?" Because I've never actually played around with it. And he goes, "Well, can you hear my cat meowing in the past minute or so?" And we all said no, because And he's like, "Yeah, because I have voice isolation on, and all you can hear is my voice." And so the one thing that's weird about it is that Apple kind of hid it. It's not like you don't like go into your settings and find it. What you have to do is you have to start a phone call, or you have to be in a phone call. And while you're in a call, you scroll that, or whatever.
You swipe down.
Bring down the control center.
Yep.
Modified, whatever that swipe action is from
Swipe
the top.
From the top right.
Swipe from the top right. Yeah, it doesn't roll right off the tongue. At least not mine. Anyway, you do that, and then you see a thing that says, mic status or something like that, and you have to select voice isolation. And then supposedly that sticks, until you turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
So then every call you're on, that's working. But we just thought that was kind of weird that it's not, in the phone app settings somewhere. It's you gotta do it when you're in a call.
In the phone app settings, it's not here.
Yeah, not there. You can only turn it on while you're in a call. So if don't spend a whole bunch of time looking for this thing, just make a call. I called I called Kaiser, the healthcare provider, because of course they don't answer their phone. I got a recording and I turned it on then. So now next time I made a call, it was on. I still haven't actually talked to a human being with noise in the background on my end. That's the way it works. It works on your end, not their end, right? It's noise suppression on your iPhone.
So if you do this once, does it remember your selection the next time you make a call, or do you have to do this every time?
I swear to God, I just said that. Supposedly, yes.
I was looking in the
you're
settings
so
app.
Entranced. Yeah, supposedly it's the setting sticks. It stays on then the next time you make a call and the next time you make a call. And in a similar way, if you want to turn that off, like if you just have to have people be able to hear your baby crying or your dog barking or the traffic noise around you, you have to go in during the call and turn it off. And then that setting will carry forward, to your next call until you turn it back on.
It is puzzling that they don't have this available in the settings.
It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah,
why?
It's extremely weird.
And one of the things that our writer, I think Ed wrote this when he was talking about how to turn it on. That we've got the post on our site now, how to turn it on, right? And he said Apple didn't make a big deal about it. And one reason he thought that was true is because they don't have wide spectrum setting. The wide spectrum setting is not turned on for voice calls yet.
Huh.
And that's like the opposite of voice isolation. It like makes everything sound, I guess it amplifies background noise. So he was theorizing that maybe they're going to turn that on for voice calls in the future. And that's when they'll make a big deal out of this. We'll see. In the meantime, that's how you turn it on.
So if you get a call,
don't tell us we never told you a handy tip.
Yeah, don't say you never learned anything on this show. It's rare. And sometimes if you learn something, it's like that something is actually not accurate. But in this case,
come on now.
This is absolute. We walked you through the whole process, which is actually something that I didn't know how to do either. So I'm also edified here today. Lewis, before we got through all the Apple news, and I want to talk a little bit about some ChatGPT and AI stuff, which actually has to do with Apple. Do you want to talk about the giveaway just really quickly and give people an opportunity to win something?
We should run through that first.
Uh-oh.
This is not yet live on the site. We're working on the post even as we speak. You could probably hear somebody typing around in the back. No, you can't because voice isolation is on. Anyway, let's see. This week we've got a giveaway. We're giving one, count them one, exactly one of these. And this is from a company I've never heard of before. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you pronounce the name of the company Kuxiu.
Yeah.
Kuxiu.
Okay.
Kuxiu. I've never heard of this
Kuxiu.
company.
Yeah.
They've got the X27 Pro iPad magnetic stand, and so I watched a video on this, a video review, and this thing looks really sturdy. I mean, the guy was saying like basically, you put your he said he was a little nervous. He puts his iPad on there, and it's like actually almost hard to get it off. He's like, I have to figure out a way to get this off easily because it's so secure. And he was like holding the stand and waving the iPad around, right? It looked very, very stable, very secure. And it's so it's got a swivel on the back of it where it attaches to it. So you basically have this magnetic stand. You can swivel your iPad up, down, around, however you want. And the other great thing about it is that on the base, it's got a wireless charger for your iPhone.
Nice.
Or your AirPods or whatever. These things cost $99. We're giving away one. The giveaway will be on the website. You scroll down to where it says giveaway. That's the giveaway. And click on that. You go and sign up for our newsletters. We got a great newsletter we send out every day. We got one we send out on weekends. There's all kinds of ways you can gain entries. It's always free to enter these things. We have one all the time, except for like right now when we're in
I was going to
between
say,
them. But
is it not on the site at all? Do we not have
That's what
any giveaways up at all?
we have no. When one expires, we have to get another one together, right? And
Oh,
it's not like
it's still here. It's just the wrong product.
Right. We don't have
Yeah.
Tim Cook running our supply chain on the giveaway posts.
Otherwise, this would have been up already.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Maybe
that's cool.
Maybe I could get Tim to help. Anyway, it should be up by the time you hear the podcast if you're listening to the podcast, not live.
So you just go to cultamac.com, scroll down, you'll see the giveaway section. It will be there. Right now it's a selfie stick, but that will be swapping over imminent. The swap
Exactly.
is imminent, right?
Very soon, very near future.
Cool. So I won't post a link in the chat for all of you
because there isn't one.
Because there isn't one. So just stay tuned. Let's see here. All right, let's move on, Lewis. Let's talk about the first ChatGPT-generated app store hitting or app hitting the App Store, I should say.
Yeah.
So this was, of course, a very interesting story. We've been talking about a lot of AI stuff. And did you know that ChatGPT can write code? In fact, it's being integrated into various developer systems to write code for you. And it will probably be checking your code, I would imagine. Like it can already write perfect code in many instances. So this guy used it to write an app. His name is Morton Just. His app is called 5 Movies, and his app was just approved by Apple, and it's been published on the App Store. And per the story, he used ChatGPT to write, 97% of the code, 95%, 97%.
Yeah.
He's an independent developer who makes Mac apps. He's based in Switzerland, and he guided ChatGPT using prompts to the creation of his movie recommendation app. He said that he told the AI what he wanted, and then he just pasted its output into an Xcode project, and he only had to write an estimated 2% to 5% of the code himself. ChatGPT even fixed bugs as he pasted in error messages that he was receiving from Xcode.
It took like forever, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it took a whole 3 to 4 seconds max.
How long?
To actually fix the code or to write the code?
Well, I mean, he got the workable prototype working in 5 minutes.
Oh, I missed that part. Wow. That is
5
unbelievable.
minutes.
So he wrote the entire app in 5 minutes for a prototype and then smoothed it out. See, so we're going to talk about some more stories here in a second, and I don't know how many people are familiar or interested in AI stuff, but the reason that we talk about this is, I think it's fascinating, but more so than that, this technology is going to change everything. And even if you aren't paying attention to it, it's still going to affect you.
It's paying attention to you.
Yeah, it's paying attention to you, for sure, as we learned when we try to use ChatGPT to write our CultCast radio promo. And it's just getting better and better. It's really mind-blowing what it can do. And there was a huge event on the web this week of an image that was created that everyone thought was real, and they were responding to it, which turns out was created by, I think it was Midjourney, because it's so unbelievably accurate now. And actually, I've heard Elon Musk say that he wants, or he thinks that we need to be careful with AI more times than I could probably count. But him and Woz and other leading researchers just put out another warning urging people to put a pause on out-of-control AI development, which, by the way, lead image here, a bunch of T2 Terminators. It's perfect. It's perfect. Which, of course, no one is going to heed this warning because there's way too much money to be made, and all these companies now are tripping over themselves to create AI and be the first to create something that everyone wants to use. I've been using Midjourney. I told you all, I think last episode, how astounding its ability is to create unique, compelling, realistic-looking imagery that look like photographs is. Like V5 just came out. If you're a paying user, you can use V5. And the images that it can create are mind-blowing. Like they are very hard to discern from actual reality. And I think that this is kind of what Woz and Musk are trying to address here. First of all, it cracks me up that Woz is a part of this.
Yeah, I know.
No offense. What's Woz doing, man? What's Woz doing? Is he actually making anything? I mean, like, anytime I see that guy's tweets, he's always on his way to a P.F. Chang's. So he seems like he's living his best life, just traveling around, going to restaurants and stuff. And I love that Woz got roped into to penning this open letter. So let's see here. Do I have some text from the letter here? The letter described AI development as out of control, risky, unpredictable, and even beyond understanding of its own makers, thanks to brisk competition. I think that's 100% true. It cited the Asilomar AI principles developed at the Beneficial AI conference in 2017. As stated in the widely endorsed Asilomar AI principles document, advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care and resources. Unfortunately, I'm reading from the letter they penned, by the way. Unfortunately, this level of planning and management is not happening, even though recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out-of-control race to develop and deploy ever more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. AI
Yikes.
developers... What's that, Lewis?
I said, yikes.
Let me scroll back up to this image of T2s while we're reading this to make the point. AI developers must work with policymakers to dramatically accelerate development of robust AI governance systems. Dude, I don't know how that's going to happen. These should at a minimum include new and capable regulatory authorities dedicated to AI, oversight of tracking of highly capable AI systems and large pools of computational capability, provenance and watermarking systems to help distinguish real from synthetic, and to track model leaks. Now, I think that is critical. Like that last part, they need to figure out a way to make it obvious that something is generated from AI. I don't know how they do this or if this is even possible, but the scenario I always go back to is these AI image systems now are so good that they're creating imagery that looks real but doesn't actually exist. And you pair that with a system where people are reacting in low information ways, like on Twitter, where they're reacting to headlines, they're reacting to images, and it can create like these huge, what do they call them? I'm spacing out on the phrase. Like when people are getting their pitchforks and their torches and coming after you, Lewis. What's the term?
Mania. I don't know.
Well,
what
I think
you're
mania
thinking
is a good word for it, but that's not exactly what I was thinking of. But huge swaths of people reacting, and now they're going to have an opportunity to react to things that just aren't even real. And imagery is incredibly powerful, right? Like you show someone an image. And let me just. Here's the other story we're going to do. Lewis, I'll toss it to you to talk about this.
Yes. So this is a story from the Toronto Star, and the headline is, "This viral, quote, photo of the Pope in a puffer jacket fooled the internet. How can we spot AI deepfakes?" And if you look at it, it looks like the Pope's walking around in this white.
In the most G-unit jacket you've ever seen. Yeah. It's like a white, like a super puffy white winter jacket, but he's wearing like that thing that he wears on his head. He's wearing a cross. and it looks
that
like
thing.
what's that thing called? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a yarmulke
Skull
to
cap
me.
or something. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and it's like a super G'd out jacket. But it looks like something that he would wear in wintertime.
Yeah, it does get kind of chilly in Rome in the winter. Yeah, apparently it's a Balenciaga puffer jacket with a bejeweled crucifix, right? And apparently this thing got millions of views on Twitter, Reddit, and I mean, it's easy to understand why. And what you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, people react to a headline or a photo that they see. They don't read any further into that. They don't do any research. They just share it, and it gets amplified and amplified. It spins out of control, right? Yeah. There's all kinds of. I mean, this is really kind of terrifying. It's funny that they mentioned that thing about watermarking. I mean, if there was some kind of way that they could use like the blockchain or something to make it possible to say, okay, if you go back and look at this, you can tell that this is created by AI. I don't know how they could make that happen, but there's somebody smarter than us has to be able to figure out a way to do it, right? And if they don't, we are definitely headed for, and even if they do, we are headed for calamitous times with all these crazy things out there, pictures of Trump getting arrested. I mean, good grief, all this stuff, and it looks like for all the world, it looks like it actually happened. It's crazy.
I saw people discussing this image of the Pope, the one with the puffer jacket, and there were a few people who were saying, "Oh, it's totally obvious that this is fake. Just look at his ear. His ear doesn't look normal." I'm like, dude, that ear looks normal to me. And they're like, "Well, look at the shadow on his glasses. The shadow of his glasses isn't quite perpendicular." I'm like, dude, no one is looking at that.
Right.
There is nothing about this image at all that would throw any normal person off. That looks like a photograph.
Yeah, first glance,
no
it
way
absolutely
you would
looks
know.
real.
And there's a whole subreddit now devoted to creating like fake, basically images that
fake news
that
fake
are
news
fake
photos.
history.
Oh, fake history.
Of like this place in Oregon and how like it had like gone through like the I forget what it's called, like the Great Cascadia like earthquake or something. And they're documenting like this area in Oregon that had gone through like this great calamity, like natural disaster, and all the buildings are toppled over and everything. And they're creating a whole history full of imagery for this event that never happened.
Fake history. Wow.
And that kind of thing is going to be rampant. And then you see these images like this one of the Pope. It looks real. It's not. Those images of Trump, it looks real. They look real. They're not. I mean, and you have all these companies tripping over themselves to make their technology as fast as possible, as believable as possible. You have ChatGPT now able to write scripts that are more accurate than what humans could write, and it's just truly bizarre, man. Seeing all this stuff come to fruition, and all those warnings that Elon Musk was talking about. I don't know if maybe I misunderstood his warnings or if they came true, but not in the way that he meant them. Like he would always warn about AI, and the impression that I got, like he thinks that AI is going to like become self-aware and take over. I don't think that's going to happen ever. But it can be used in nefarious ways, and it can be used to create chaos in populations who are responding to something that looks real but is actually fake. And I think that is the real danger. Although, let me regale you with one more story. I saw a story. In fact, let me see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. I saw this story on TikTok. Let's see here. Let me see if I can. Whoops. I'm gonna see if I can pull up this story and play the audio for you because it will do a better job at describing. Let's see here.
Do you want to hear while you're looking for that? You want to hear these tips on how to spot AI images?
Yeah, please.
You interested in that at all?
Yeah, go for it.
This is straight from that Toronto Star story. It says, while convincing from afar, current AI images tend to fall apart when you pay attention to the details. I'm not 100% sure that this is accurate, but here's what they say to look at. Especially pay attention to the eyes, hands, and clothing. These commonly result in misshapen facial features, eyes looking in different directions. I've seen some of those cross-eyed Mary kind of things. Mismatched or missing earrings, and accessories that tend to blend into the skin or clothing. And they talk about in the Pope thing. They say zoom into the eyes. You might notice something off about his glasses. The shadow of the frame is distorted. It appears the right lens is both merging into his cheek and jabbing through his eyelid. Now, I actually look at that thing up close, and I don't
I'm not
actually
seeing
see
it.
it that way.
Me neither.
Also says, look at his right hand, gripping the air above a floating, distorted coffee cup. In previous months, AI struggled to depict hands, often drawing them as multi-fingered messes. However, the latest version of Midjourney has fixed that problem, but still has some problems showing how fingers interact with the environment. It's true. I've seen some things that look like something from the island of
Me
Dr.
too.
Moreau that have
Me
been spit
too.
out by this.
But those change or those issues are so nuanced. Like now that you mention the hand, I notice it. But I wasn't looking at his hand,
Yeah,
man.
nobody would ever look at it.
That's a thing. Like if you have to scrutinize the image, it's already a foregone conclusion. People are not going to know. Okay, so let me play this audio for you. I can't show you the video, but let me see if I can play the audio here. I'm going to put my phone up to the mic. Ready?
Stories now we just share like actual AI news. Like for example, here's something terrifying. So OpenAI has an alignment research team, and some of the researchers on that team gave GPT-4 like I think it was like $60 to make as much money as it could. And one of the sites it was trying to use to make money had a CAPTCHA on it, and so the bot actually found the website TaskRabbit and hired a worker to complete the CAPTCHA. And supposedly the worker was joking and asked the bot, wait, you're not a robot trying to bypass the system, right? And GPT-4 replied and said, no, I'm blind, like I'm vision impaired and I can't do it myself. So it's already smart enough to manipulate and lie to people in order to make money. And it can bypass the safeguards that we have in place to block automation. Maybe not the best sign.
So look, I haven't verified this story. I don't know if the story is true.
That was probably actually a chatbot that created that podcast.
It could be. This whole guy could be fake.
Exactly.
This could actually be ChatGPT working with Midjourney, creating the script, creating the video. I don't know. But if you didn't catch the story, so like they have, like the developers of ChatGPT have functionality that we clearly don't have. And they were trying to figure out how to make money, and they asked ChatGPT what it would do with $60, or they gave it $60 to spend or something. And it was trying to like use these websites to make money.
Set up a Shopify shop
it
or
couldn't
something.
get past the CAPTCHA, and so it hired someone on TaskRabbit to get past the CAPTCHA. The person it hired said, wait a second, you're not a robot, are you? And it said, oh no, I'm vision impaired, so I can't get past it. Now again, I actually want to go verify that this story is true, because part of me thinks it's probably not.
The part of it that's hilarious is that if a CAPTCHA actually works to keep a robot out. I mean, I thought they were.
Yeah,
I thought they only kept people like me who can't tell a stoplight from a headlight.
Right, but actual AI gets past
works. It actually keeps robots out.
So I don't know, man. I mean, like, I'm not worried about AI in the same way that I think Elon Musk is worried about it. I'm just. It is one of the most disruptive pieces of technology I've seen in my lifetime, and the fact that it's able to create things out of very short command prompts is absolutely mind-blowing to me, especially considering how good these things are getting and how fast they're getting good. This whole phenomenon has only been around for what? In the zeitgeist for what? Maybe 12 months, if that?
Yeah. Yeah. So what if it says like you tell it, give it some task, right? And it says, and you say, do it as fast as possible, and it starts going, I need more computing power. I need more energy. And it starts, taking over other computers, and you have a brownout in San Francisco because this thing says, "Oh, I need you to shut down the power to that so that I can have more." I mean, if it can actually go out and hire somebody on TaskRabbit, that's a little bit frightening. If it can actually go out and start doing real things, as
Dude,
opposed
if you
to
train it for cyber warfare, and you say, figure out a way to shut down the power stations in, X country. And if it can write code, now it starts writing code, and it could very easily write viruses and figure out a way to get those viruses onto people's machines and attack other computing systems. I think that's actually a possibility, man. Like that's Skynet level functionality, at least in that regard, like infecting other machines, creating code to infect other machines, and then report back to it. Yeah, that could actually happen.
I heard something the other day about I think it was the FCC or something was putting out warnings like don't answer calls from people you don't recognize, because people are making recordings of phone calls, and then they're taking that recording and using a recording of your voice along with stuff that they can find out about you through AI to create a version of you saying, hey, Irfan, I'm stuck out here. I need $20. Can you send me 20, or whatever, like using it to what do they call that, social engineering, the social engineering way of hacking someone, or getting into their accounts, right? So that's what's really terrifying, is the way people use this. I mean, if people can use it for nefarious things, and then it can start to use itself to do things, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a little bit bumpy here coming up.
I heard a story. I don't know if this is true. Again,
here we go again with the fake
you
news.
don't know what's true and what's not, right? But there was a guy who was saying you need to have a safe word with your friends and family, because there was a story that he was relaying about how someone had used AI voice changing software to emulate someone's parents, and then calling their child, like their adult child, saying that there had been an emergency and they needed all this money and stuff.
Exactly.
Or maybe it was the other way around. Like they called the
Yeah.
parents emulating the kid, asking for money and saying it was an emergency. And then the parents sent the money, and it was a scam. Like the whole thing was just architected using like machine learning. And he's like, you have to have a passcode with your parents or with your kids, so that you can verify that the person that you're talking to is actually the person that they say that it is. And that is actually, with the level of technology we have already, that scenario is absolutely possible. I mean, OpenAI has DALL-E, it has ChatGPT, and I think it has another tool that modulates voices using AI. We heard that podcast between Steve Jobs and Joe Rogan that didn't exist, that never was actually created. And it sounded convincingly real. I think voices is actually one of the things it does best. Like emulating other people's voices is one of the things that it actually does like almost flawlessly. And people could use that to scam you in all sorts of ways. Call your bank. Well, I guess they would need information, personal information, but
which you can get by getting your account. Yeah. Whew.
Now we're spiraling into the doomsday scenarios. I don't know. I just thought that you all might find this stuff interesting. Let me know. Maybe you all aren't into the AI stuff. If not, we can kind of dial it out. But Apple News right now,
just like with the VR headset, just dial it back.
We'll just turn that digital crown and just dial it out. But it's a slow news week, and the AI stuff, man, is just heating up in a way that I never imagined possible. And so it's just a fascinating topic to me. Anyway, Lewis, I think that we should go ahead and wrap it up there.
No one can blame you.
That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. We're out of Apple News. We're out of AI news. But I'm going to restock, and come back with even more next week. But if you want the journey to continue, the mid-journey, we're both on Twitter. I'm at Arafat, and Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Is in the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.
Lewis Wallace, it's me, your bank. I need you to deposit $15,000 at your earliest convenience.
Not gonna happen.
Lewis, your bank's calling you. You better make that deposit right away. It's definitely not a robot. Oh, man, we're all doomed, Lewis.
Deep fakes.
At least we can laugh as everything crumbles around us. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Later, y'all. I know one thing's for sure. TC is not getting fooled by AI. He's got that chip Elon created, installed in his brain. Neuralink installed. It's running iOS 24. Sure, he poops his pants inadvertently. But
that's uncalled for.
It's worth it.